Welcome to a new week of daily thoughts, and this week we're going to be thinking of those extremely small, brief prayers of blessing that come towards the end of Paul's letters, and they're called benedictions, and we're thinking of the benediction that comes towards the end of his letter to the Romans today. Romans chapter 15 and verse 13 says this: "May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit." This is Paul's prayer for the Christians at Rome. And the key word is hope. It's mentioned twice there. And I want you to notice three things just very quickly. First of all, the source of this hope. Well, that should be obvious from the verse. It comes from God, the one who is described as the God of hope. He is the provider. He is the supplier. This is a prayer after all. Paul is calling on God to be the giver, to be the one who bestows this blessing on the people that he is writing to. Money can't buy this. You cannot manufacture this for yourselves. It comes from God. And that's also clear from the end of the verse, where it talks of us overflowing with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Psalm 146 verse 5 fits in so well here. "Blessed is he whose help is the God of Jacob, whose hope is in the Lord his God." Secondly, the amount of hope that God is able to give. Paul prays that God would fill you with all joy and peace. It's interesting that Paul doesn't say fill you with hope, but with joy and peace. And it's as if hope is made up of these two ingredients. You get some joy and you get some peace, and you add them together and you've made some hope. And that makes perfect sense, because anyone who is filled with joy and filled with peace is going to be a man or woman who is possessed with hope. But it's this idea that God fills us with all joy and peace. God is so lavish in his giving, such a generous giver. He fills us with all joy and peace, with the result being, Paul says, that you overflow with hope. Imagine that, so full of hope that you can't contain it, but it just effortlessly spills over. The amount of hope. And then lastly, how do you receive this hope? How do you go about obtaining it? "May the God of hope," says our verse, "fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him." That's how it happens. As you trust, as you believe in him. And it sounds so simple, but that is how God bestows all his blessings upon his people, as we come to him in faith and trust and believe his word. And I would invite you to do that today. Romans 15:13 is a short verse. Try memorizing it and repeating it to yourself throughout the day, reaching out to God in faith as you do that, and trusting him to bless you in this way. I noticed just yesterday that the petrol light in my car is flashing, telling me that I'm very close to being empty of petrol, and the next time I'm out in the car I'll need to go to the petrol station and fill it up. Perhaps your hope light is flashing. You're very close to empty, and you need to get to God's filling station so that he can fill you with all joy and peace, so that you overflow with hope. God bless.